The Indiana Fever front office never expected their offseason to spiral into a storm this quickly. But all it took was one headline, one article, one demand that sent shockwaves through the organization and rattled the entire WNBA. The moment reports surfaced that Kelsey Mitchell, the veteran guard who survived the losing years and carried the franchise through its darkest stretches, was demanding a massive pay raise, everything inside the Fever headquarters changed. What should have been a quiet offseason quickly transformed into a full-blown crisis, a power struggle where money, legacy, and the future of Indiana basketball collided in the most explosive way. 4 years, Mitchell has been the steady heartbeat of the Fever. Through coaching changes, losing records, and rebuild after rebuild, she remained loyal. She played with pride, dominated quietly, and waited patiently for her moment to be recognized. But now, with Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston ushering in a new era, Mitchell is no longer willing to wait. The article that dropped made that very clear, declaring that her future with the franchise was officially at stake. And with the WNBA's collective bargaining negotiations already teetering on the edge of uncertainty, her timing could not have been more dramatic or more dangerous. The league has just 20 days left to finalize a new CBA before a potential work stoppage. A lockout looms, players are pushing for higher pay, better revenue sharing, and better working conditions, while league executives try to balance growth with stability. In the middle of this tug-of-war stands Kelsey Mitchell, a seasoned scorer whose demand for a raise is now shaking the financial backbone of the Indiana Fever. Her current contract, roughly $249,000, the league maximum, sounds impressive on paper, but compared to what stars earn off the court, the number feels small, almost insulting. Insiders say that Mitchell feels overlooked and underappreciated, not just in salary but in the acknowledgement of her leadership. She believes, and she's not wrong, that she paved the path the new Fever are now walking on. And as the spotlight shifts to Clark, bringing with her a tidal wave of media attention, jersey sales, and national exposure, Mitchell can feel the hierarchy changing. Years of loyalty suddenly feel fragile. Behind closed doors, the conversations are tense. Mitchell's representatives walked into negotiations expecting a long-term extension, incentives, and financial respect. Instead, they found hesitation, delays, and mixed signals. Amber Cox, the Fever's general manager, has repeatedly labeled Mitchell a franchise cornerstone. But that label loses its shine when the franchise hesitates to pay accordingly. Mitchell doesn't want a symbolic title. She wants compensation that reflects her value. She wants the franchise to show that loyalty matters. And she wants her contributions acknowledged at a time when newer faces are becoming the centerpiece of Indiana's identity. Her demand is not just a plea, it's a challenge. Meanwhile, fans are divided. One half sees her as a loyal warrior who carried Indiana when no one else would, and they believe she deserves every dollar she's asking for. The other half worries that her demands could crack open the delicate chemistry the Fever have finally built. After years of confusion and inconsistency, Indiana has momentum. They have a promising core. And now, this contract drama threatens to scatter everything. And the timing could not be worse. The WNBA is on edge with the CBA deadline looming. Executives are scrambling to prepare for whatever financial landscape emerges once the agreement is finalized. Mitchell's demand doesn't just complicate Indiana's budget, it tests the entire league structure. What happens if a franchise gives in to a veteran star during the most important financial negotiation in WNBA history? What message does that send? If they deny her, does it undermine the league's push for better pay and respect for players? But if they approve it, could this unleash a wave of similar demands across the league? Kelsey Mitchell is no longer negotiating for herself. Whether she meant to or not, she's become the face of a movement. A statement about how the league values its veterans, its leaders, and the women who built the foundation long before the spotlight arrived. And in Indiana, a quiet storm is brewing behind the scenes. The feud isn't just between the organization and Mitchell. It has started creating friction between two of the most powerful voices inside the franchise, General Manager Amber Cox and head coach Stephanie White. Cox has always celebrated Mitchell's loyalty. She believes keeping her is essential to the franchise's identity, praising her leadership publicly and privately. White, however, has a different philosophy. She sees the Fever's future through the lens of strategy, roster balance, and championship formula. In her mind, stars don't win titles alone. Role players, steady, disciplined, ego-free, are the glue that holds everything together. And she worries that overpaying one star could unravel the team before the season even starts. Insiders say the debate behind closed doors has become intense. Cox wants long-term security for Mitchell, a reward for her years of dedication. White wants financial flexibility, depth, and the ability to build a warrior-style ecosystem where sacrifice is embraced, and every player understands their role. For White, it's not about disrespect, it's about vision. And in her vision, overspending on one piece of the puzzle could cause the whole picture to fall apart. The issue has exposed a philosophical divide: loyalty versus strategy, emotion versus economics, respect versus practicality. And while neither Cox nor White has spoken publicly, insiders say the tension is real. One wrong move could turn this internal crack into a public fracture. Meanwhile, the locker room has its own debates. Veterans preach sacrifice, pointing to champions from across sports where role players were the unsung heroes. Young players quietly wonder how this will affect their own futures. And everyone can feel that something bigger than basketball is unfolding. The Fever are dangerously top-heavy. Mitchell, Boston, Clark, Cunningham. All talented, all valuable, all hungry. But championships aren't earned with talent alone. They're built with balance. And right now, that balance is on the brink of collapse. Kelsey Mitchell's demand has forced a difficult question onto every desk in the Fever organization. Is she worth the chaos she's unleashing? Or is this the moment Indiana must choose between loyalty and long-term stability? The conversation grows more complicated when you look at the league as a whole. Across the WNBA, agents are watching closely. Veterans like Eric Ogunbowale and Jewel Lloyd are paying attention. Younger stars benefiting from endorsements are paying attention. Every franchise is watching Indiana to see how they respond, because this decision won't stay local, it will set a national precedent. If the Fever give Mitchell what she wants, teams across the league will need to rethink their own financial structures. If they don't, players will see it as a message that even loyalty and longevity don't guarantee respect. Either choice carries consequences. And in that space between consequence and opportunity, the WNBA is changing. Power dynamics are shifting. Players have become brands, decision-makers, negotiators, and catalysts for change. Kelsey Mitchell's request isn't a contract conversation anymore. It's a turning point for the league. Indiana now faces a decision that will define the next decade of its franchise. Keep Mitchell and risk financial strain? Let her walk and risk losing the heart of their team? Or find a compromise that both sides can live with, even if neither side walks away fully satisfied? No matter what happens next, the message is undeniable. The players have the power now. And Kelsey Mitchell's demand may be the spark that ignites a new era of financial independence, veteran respect, and league-wide recalibration. The question is no longer whether Mitchell deserves the raise. The question is who the Fever want to be when the smoke clears. A dynasty built on loyalty, or a franchise torn apart by the price of ambition?